This conference will now be recorded.
Any additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Minutes from August 18th, 2021. Motion's been made to approve the minutes of August 18th. Is there a second?
My name isn't spelled with an H, just FYI. But otherwise, second.
Don't you say that every month?
It's either her first name or her last name. I have to check and see what my spell check says.
Not a big deal. It just always glares out at me.
Yeah. I'm sorry, was there a second other than Sarah's correction?
I said second.
Okay. Motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye with the correction noted.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Okay, financial report.
Yeah, so all is pretty normal month to month, besides what we're going to start seeing this month, next month, et cetera, is an uptick in some expenditures for the festival. As you can see, some of them started going through last month, and there should be a lot more than this next month, we'll see. But other than that, I've been told it's normal as can be.
I'll make a motion to approve the monthly financial report.
There's motions made. Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions?
I was just going to say, Rich, the 328.30, that's what I was, the postage.
Yep,
I remember
saw
it
that.
was some number along those lines.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Okay, public hearing, none. Old business, none. New business. Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation. We have Alyssa here again. I think you've been here before. Yes.
Move up here so I can see you all better. I did bring along some additional information, if you guys are okay with that. Just pass those down. But first of all, of course, Brittany is an individual contributor of Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation. So thank you so much for your support in the past. And I would just like to let you know what we've been doing with your contribution over the last year or two, and just talk about a few things that we have coming up that I think could really benefit your community. So if that sounds great, I'll just dive right in, and please feel free to interrupt me with questions or comments.
The floor is yours.
All right. So Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation, SMIF for short. We're actually celebrating our 35th anniversary this year, so it's an exciting year. And we continue to focus on three main areas to keep all of our communities moving forward in our 20-county region. So that is assisting entrepreneurs, early childhood support, and community vitality. On the average year, we give out about $5 million a year in those three areas. But this year has not been average. So we've actually given out an additional $12 million on top of that through partnerships and different collaborations that we have available to us. And that's really been focused on pandemic relief. Okay, my apologies. Oh no, I just didn't want to, wasn't sure if I was in your spot or not. So, so I'll touch on those different pandemic reliefs that we've been able to facilitate too as I go through these three areas. But entrepreneurship is really our main area of focus, our largest of the three focus areas. And we want to make sure entrepreneurs have the resources and networks to be successful. It's a challenging area to be in, and you just don't know what you don't know. And so how we really assist entrepreneurs is we are a lender. So even if we're a small package, a small part of a larger lending package, we're able to provide one-on-one technical assistance. And we've had a lot of great loan clients from actually Zumbrota recently and the Goodhue County area. So please do keep us in mind because we're able to provide one-on-one technical assistance when we're part of that package. You guys probably know the statistic, 8 out of 10 businesses fail in their first 2 years. When we're part of that, actually 9 out of 10 succeed is our track record. And we think that's because we're able to really customize and find mentors and networks for entrepreneurs in their specific field. So something to keep in mind if you hear of someone who's looking to start or expand a business. We also are, well, within that area too, the relief efforts, we actually gave out 55 different $10,000 relief grants to businesses. That's through a partnership with Deed in the past probably 8 months. So that was just in Goodhue County, 55, so that's $550,000 went to those efforts. And that was just to help businesses, whatever it was, keep the lights on, make payroll, maybe inventory issues, whatever they needed. So another great area that we were able to assist our communities with just because of some partnerships that we have. We do provide grants in the area of economic development as well. Actually, in the last year, we provided a grant to Renewing the Countryside to really help them focus on assisting local food businesses try to transition with the pandemic to have more of an online presence and focus. You know, local foods is really kind of a niche area here. And so that was something that was kind of found to be lacking, and with the pandemic really kind of exacerbated those effects. So we're happy to be able to support them in those efforts. So that's kind of what we've been up to as far as helping entrepreneurs. We do have a conference coming up, Entrepreneurial Bridge. It's going to be actually on the 28th, so only a couple days left to register, but entrepreneurs are welcome to come. It's going to be some great networking. We have some actual like nationally recognized speakers are coming in to talk with the group, and we're going to provide a lot of great resources. So something to keep in mind. And our economic development grant round is going to be opening in the next couple of weeks. So those are $20,000 grants, and that's really to assist entrepreneurs throughout the region. Past examples will be, again, the Renewing the Countryside grant to help local foods entrepreneurs transition to that online space a little easier. We've done things like supporting business incubators. So it's pretty open, bringing specific trainings into small communities for entrepreneurs to access locally has also been supported previously. So that's entrepreneurship. Any questions on that area? I know I'm just throwing a lot of information at you. The next area is early childhood education. So we want to make sure all kids are ready to learn when entering kindergarten. It's very important, obviously, for all the way down the line until they become valued members of our society and our workforce. So what we do to really help with that is actually focusing on providers. It's hard to be a provider. There's a nationwide shortage of providers and childcare for children right now. So what we're doing is we're providing free trainings. And these are all develop approved so they can get those continuing education credits they need to stay in the field. And actually 65 providers in Goodhue County took advantage of those free trainings in the last year. So that's actually a really impressive number from around our region. This county has done a really great job at accessing those early childhood resources. We also provided emergency grants to childcare providers, again, just with the pandemic. These are smaller grants, not $10,000, but just to help them with whatever they needed, because that was a very uncertain time when the pandemic hit. People were pulling kids, and it's already hard to be in that field. So we wanted to make sure they were supported. And 29 providers accessed those dollars in Goodhue County and some in Zumbrota. So other things I want to make sure you're aware of in this area is we do have a consultant, Jeff Andrews, who can work with a provider if they are looking to maybe expand their business plan or just questions on licensing, anything that a provider may need, up to a community looking at addressing their childcare shortage issues and how can they access resources. And he's actually working at the county level in Le Sueur with the county as a whole to try to figure out how they can address their shortage issues and provide resources and training. And that is free of charge. I can send you guys his contact information. I really do encourage you to spread the word that we have this resource available. He is absolutely phenomenal at tackling some of these challenging issues. So that's early childcare stuff. And community vitality is the last area that we focus on, and that's just helping our communities capture those philanthropic dollars is what it's kind of about. You guys have, I believe it's Zumbrota Trust. You guys have a nonprofit that's sort of serving the community already as a whole. We are the fiscal host of other groups that are somewhat similar. So should you guys know of them or are part of that organization, if they ever have any questions or would like some additional resources, please feel free to have them reach out to us. We do have a cohort of about 100 different funds under our umbrella. that we are providing resources for. So that's something to keep in mind. We also have a small town grant round that just closed, but every summer it opens up for communities in 10,000 in population and under. And that's actually quite broad. And it's really just about how are you going to engage your citizens? What do you want to see happen in Zumbrota? As you guys know firsthand, there's always that big long wish list of things you wish you could get to as part of as a city official. But you just can't, there's not money, there's not the time. And so this grant round is kind of focused on, well, how can we help push some of these things off of that shelf and get them actually moving and gaining momentum? In the last round, there was a welcoming initiative in Blue Earth, Minnesota, which is just, many communities have this already. They did not, that when a new resident moves in, they give them a basket and they connect them with people that may be interested in their same areas of work or focus or whatever it may be. Trying to think of a local example, and now it just kind of like flooded out of my brain, unfortunately, but we just approved 25 different grants like that a couple months ago. So it's a great opportunity for small towns. Please do keep that in mind, take advantage. We actually have a very generous donor who decided to double the amount we get to give out in that program this last year. So we went from 100,000 to 200,000, which is very exciting. And I were able to give out actually 25 grants in this round. So. And then your local, the Goodhue County Fairgrounds is almost an annual recipient of paint from our Paint the Town grant. So that was recently too awarded to keep those buildings looking great. That's what we've been doing. That was a lot of information. We really appreciate your support. Do you guys have any questions?
Can you give some other specifics? I mean,
Sure. So let me look. I knew you guys were going to ask that. And okay, so actually a local, well, it's Three Rivers Action Committee. They serve a larger area. They actually received 1,000 books recently through our literacy grant round. And those books actually go into the hands of children. So in June, those books were picked up and they're really focused on increasing word count for our youngest residents and child-parent bonding. And they'll create programming around that to get that out in the area. Also, we do have a recent loan client from Zumbrota, but I don't really want to say the name just in case, but that is something that was new. I don't have approval from them yet, but very exciting. And I love their business. The fairgrounds is located here, and those are probably what I have for like in the last year. Emergency grants were given out here, but I can't give specifics again on those for both childcare providers and for businesses as well. So, and I could actually total up the dollar amount if you wanted to. I just don't have them broken out because we don't give details on that level. But.
So you said your entrepreneurial training is coming up?
Entrepreneurial Bridge is on the 28th.
And that's on your webpage?
It is, yes. And I think there's only 2 days left to register. It's going to be held in Albert Lee. It's going to be a really great day. So I encourage you to take a look at it.
Dylan, are you looking at that?
I will.
Add more to your plate.
Then Albert Lee, you said?
Albert Lee, yes.
Okay.
At Wedgewood Golf Course. And then I do encourage you to keep the economic development grants in mind. That will be opening up in the next couple of weeks. Again, $20,000 for different things like trainings for entrepreneurs. And then we actually also have an early childhood grant round opening up in a couple weeks as well, which is for more wraparound services. So that's like before and after school care, social emotional health, mental health is a huge issue right now with the pandemic and transitions with schools in the last year. So if you have any ideas or connections in those areas that could be beneficial, and we actually did in the last year give out a grant to expand a local childcare group that was looking to start up. Honestly, I don't know if it was a startup or an expansion, but they did receive a $9,000 grant here in the community to add more slots. And that is something that will be coming up again in the spring, is our expansion grant, which is specifically to expand or start childcare providers and add more slots to the community so more kids have space to learn and care.
So that was a grant that was given in our community? Somebody's adding, increasing, or starting
Yeah.
up a
Yep.
childcare?
Yep. Yes. I'm guessing it's an expansion if you're not aware of it. So, and that could be something like a home-based provider was looking to, maybe they don't normally do the full cap, maybe they were looking to expand, but they needed additional resources to actually get up to I think it's 10 is how much a home-based provider can typically care for.
Okay.
So it's pretty flexible on how they want to use that.
Yeah, no,
14, never mind. So yes,
Very cool.
yeah. So we have a lot of things coming up on the horizon, so please keep that in mind. And we do hope that you'll continue your financial partnership with us in 2022. And thank you again for your support in 2021. And
we typically do that in January. Or,
last time, it was actually paid in March, but in general, it's the first few months of the year.
so we
Sort of.
usually approve it in January.
Yeah.
So if, and this is maybe a question for our city staff, but do you have the records of like, how many childcare providers are in the city of Zumbrod?
We can get that for you. That is actually public access. I think you can go to the Parent Aware website and you can type in your community and it'll pull up all of the providers that have Parent Aware rating. But I think it actually pulls all that are licensed. But I can also ask.
Non-licensed and licensed.
Yes.
Should pull all of them, even if you Google it.
Parent Aware,
If you Google childcare, and then it'll show up like a main, I don't remember exactly, but you can find the non and the licensing daycares on there.
how many we have?
There's a lot.
A lot?
Not really, but.
Not
I'm
enough?
Not exactly sure. Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Oh, well, I was just kind of curious, listening to your thing about the childcare and stuff and trying to digest everything you said, but so if I decided that I wanted to try to start a large childcare business, say Kids First or something like that,
Grandpa's house.
it's going to be out
Knew
by
it was
countryside.
Yeah.
I'm going to build it right next to your place. I mean, is that something that a person can reach out to your organization and
Definitely.
have help connecting with?
Yep, and that's exactly what that consultant, Jeff Andrews, is there to help with. He would be able to go over a business plan, help start a business plan, connect with different licensing, all of those different aspects of a childcare center, maybe in that case, or a home-based provider, though. He can help with any level. And he can also just help brainstorm if you guys are in the sort of stage of, well, we know we have a problem, but we don't know how to address it. That is something he's really great at as well. So I think it's in Wells. They actually worked with him and determined that the pod model would be very effective for their community, where actually 4 separate providers rented one space. So they're able to share costs. It's not in their home. The limit that you can have is 4, but they were able to do that. And it's far more effective for their community versus trying to actually staff a full center.
Sure.
So he's good at sort of troubleshooting as well.
Good idea.
And beyond, and troubleshooting beyond, I mean, troubleshooting all kinds of opportunities, entrepreneurial types of.
Well, he's focused on early childhood.
Okay.
Yes. So if you have other questions, we have other staff that could help with that as well.
Well,
So
I think one of the things that we've kind of discussed over the years is kind of that, that kind of whole incubator process of how do you help start, small businesses kind of have a space to start and grow and expand, but.
yeah, we actually commissioned a study. I think we used a Cura student, but we have funded a lot of incubators and starting incubator spaces throughout the region. That's actually something that's been a huge trend with that economic development grant round that's coming up. And we actually just funded one in Houston, Minnesota, so a very small community as well. And we commissioned a study that really looked at what was successful and what was challenging. So I'd be happy to share that with you guys. And we can also connect you with other incubators if it's something that you just want to ask, how the heck did you get this started? And where do you find these entrepreneurs?
And do they work? I mean.
Yep, yeah.
Is it a worthwhile effort?
Right. We've been finding that people are trying to, the whole brain gain, people are trying to get out of urban and into rural, and so many have the ability now with a lot of the jobs that are out there to be at a different location, but they may still want some office space. So it's also something that co-working space can really help with. But yeah, we found a lot of success in a lot of different communities with that. Thank you.
Anything else?
Well, thank you very much for your time. It was kind of nice to come in the afternoon versus you guys used to meet in the morning early. That was an early morning for me when I had to drive over from Owatonna, so it was kind of nice. But thank you for your time, and if you guys have any questions, let me know, or I will send over some of those resources here probably tomorrow, so. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
That's not very many.
There's two that are close outside of town. And then we have like Cougar Care.
Is it still a problem, an issue with lack of childcare? Really?
Yes.
My kids aren't that age anymore. Get old.
Yeah.
Like if it was able to expand would be nice.
It's the younger kids that are
Yeah.
like the
Birth to 3.
Hmm. Yeah. That would be a hell of a job,
You
wouldn't it?
got quite the house. You could probably house a whole bunch of them.
I could, and I could hire you to
Four
come up and
babies.
staff it.
It's 4 babies for one person. Usually they license it.
Not for me. Anyway, I had my own kids. I had my own kids, yeah.
I think 2 of those babies have to be over 1. I think only 2 can be under the age of 1.
Oh,
Sure, consider babies till they're like 2.
18 months. Yeah. Don't ask how I know.
Just do.
Just do.
okay, moving on, budget. You should all have a copy of the report that we've been kind of dealing with. I don't know, I can open it up to questions. Dylan, if you've got any comments, you want to start us off or?
Yep, so what we did was talk about this a bit last month. If you remember, we highlighted the promotional budget as something that we should consider changing around. What we need to do today is just have a discussion for the entirety of our budget, which I've printed it. I don't know why I printed so small for you guys in comparison to me. Or is that the same size? That's the same size. We just got to go through the budget and it needs to send an approval. And I've been told that we can make amends. Again, Kim mentioned how just because if we approve this budget as is, because she did work on projecting this, does not mean that that's the final budget, because what we learned last month, how if say $300 is needed in an account, you can take it from another account. So then that type of sentiment is to alleviate any concerns with each line item.
Okay, so if I'm looking at this right under the promotionals, it looks like we're going from 5,400 to 6,400, right?
Correct.
And the development projects, we're jumping 2,700?
17, right? Or no, I'm adding those together. Yep. 6,800, correct.
And development projects is example what?
Those are some of, let's say, even an admin fee for Keller Bartman project, which we get involved with. That's just an example.
Sure.
There's also, I was told here, I can see my highlight, professional fees, just maybe 5 lines above it. That 4,400 should be in development projects as well. So that's why.
Oh, okay. So we've used more than,
The 1676.
yeah, okay.
Yep, as you can see, I don't know, on mine, I highlighted some questions I had for Kim. She was sick out of the office today, so we had to meet over a phone call. Just my whole deal was with a budget, if we budget for something and we're way under continually, why do we keep budgeting? Or if we budget for something and we go over continually, why aren't we budgeting enough type of deal? So I found some gaps and had some questions. But yeah, my summary is this one's looking pretty good. If we would like to change something, for example, Sarah, you brought up last month, say we put 10,000 in the promotional. How we would do that is the difference between that 6,400 and that 10,000. So 3,600 would have to come out of other categories.
So then my question would be, why don't we just approve the budget as is? And then if we run into the issue where we need more money for promotionals, then we just go and.
Maybe then we can work out like what you said for next year's, that once you have your feet wet here,
Yeah.
and work it out
Yep.
where we're actually budgeting for what we're using it.
I agree, because I brought up with her that development projects again, because as you can see in 2019, I see it's budget 4,500, what's the 12,000? And then next year, 4,500, what's the 25,000? She would have to look, but she was out of the office today. But you know what I mean? When I see glaring differences in budgets compared to expenses, those are the ones where we should be talking about at the, this time of year. But again, yeah, she alleviated concerns by saying everything is covered. The EDA has more money than what's getting spent, and money can be moved around.
So with the increase in these two, the promotional and the development, was that then something else lowered? I mean, are we basically looking at
No,
X
we
number?
increased our revenues.
Trying to recall, but that sounds correct.
We increased our revenues up here.
The other thing where we increase revenue is
But these are estimates too.
we have,
Well, if we're budgeting an increase in revenue, then we can budget an increase in expenditure.
But these are not,
It's just a budgeted number.
right,
Right, but when we increase what we are hoping to get in,
Yeah.
that's how you increase
okay.
what you would like to spend.
and another thing, EDA specific, is we have the vet clinic abatement and another abatement that they build up every year. So that's more money that comes to the EDA each year just based off of things that happened in the past.
That'd be livestock?
Find it. But she pointed out a few different numbers where we have monies for a couple $1,000 of admin fees over here and a couple thousand of admin fees. And what that means is they're not assigned right now and they can go to these types of deals.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
I would love to have a workshop on this budget sometime, just to go through it and explain it to me.
I think one of the things Kim is looking at doing is she's changing formatting or some software that will lay this out a little bit different as well. So I think it can help us then really be able to pinpoint where we want to, utilize dollars in the future and have a little bit easier access to understanding what all these are.
Start working on it in the summer next year.
Kim mentioned how she came across the budget for the city of Hastings and she's in love with it because what they do is a one-page synopsis of what you're about to see and then line item, maybe a sentence explanation for each individual item. And I've been saying since I got here, I wish I could have all this memorized type of deal. So I knew it in and out, for example. But then I was thinking about it after she was telling me about Hastings, us as the EDA, it would be nice if we all knew it because then we could just have discussions about how we want to utilize it. You know what I mean? So workshop, I'm 100% in agreement with.
But that would be, I think, helpful to have a little understanding of, even while we may have been here, doesn't remember, necessarily why we spent money here versus there.
Yeah, like we should all know why our development projects were 12,000 and 25,000.
That's what I don't
We were all here.
get it, so it's hard to.
And even the revenue too. I mean, I agree. I think this is, it's a confusing report. And it's like kind of a mishmash of a whole bunch of stuff. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I don't spend enough time on it, but
Well, I think it's
Because
a
there's
little,
so many different accounts.
right, I think it's
Yeah.
a little reactive as well. And I think, kind of with the EDA, where we want to get is, how do we get more proactive in spending the dollars that, as the abatement dollars come in, or we have Rochester sales tax money left, how do we really understand what we have so we can utilize those to propel things forward.
I think of it as if we all knew the budget, which happens over years, or it can happen in a workshop, then we can have discussions about how to manipulate the budget to aid here, there, and not have to ask questions. The other thing is, so I've been going to Kim a lot as a resource, but this is her first year ever doing the budget. So she does not have all the answers or knows either, because for however many years Neil was holding it tight to chest. So that's a learning experience here.
I think the next year will help us really align what we want to see happen with, maybe we don't, maybe, we're budgeting, maybe we're not budgeting nearly enough for, the kind of items that we want to see come to fruition, but it's hard to see that in here.
Yeah, well, and as an example, okay, we budget every year $18,000 for the festival. But yet the festival makes money. I mean, it's totally paid for. They have more than 18,000 now. I don't know, well, I guess I shouldn't say that's all he's paid for, but even looking at the paper today, the amount of number and the dollar amount of donations, they're in the 20-some thousand.
But that's where you gotta look up here. So they are budgeting a revenue for the festival.
18,000.
Yes, which is also the same that they are taking out. So it's just a wash.
Don't use, oh,
It's all donations.
right.
It's one of those things where it needed to fall in the accounting books somewhere, and it fits EDA more than
Oh, okay.
the
All
next
right.
one.
Yeah,
But
so
it
it's
is
literally an
coming
in and
in.
an out.
Yeah,
Same.
that's what I figured. That's what I was wondering, okay, why is it even on here?
Self-sustaining. It's,
Yeah.
that runs off sponsorships, donations,
Yeah.
and it is what it is based on those each year. If nobody donated something one year, well, you wouldn't have a festival. Yeah, but it runs itself. And yeah, there is a little over 20,000 was received this year.
Which is not on here.
So where does that extra $4,000 go back
I think we
into?
just hold it.
Here,
I don't
into
know.
fireworks?
It stays with the festival.
Yeah.
Got it. Is that a separate account? It's just managed under ours?
We just build it, I guess.
Got it.
Which is 20,000. We had 9,000 to begin with, and we had 14,000 up until 2 months ago. And then there was a lot of calls and visiting businesses to procure the extra.
Shouldn't that be on here?
So I don't.
This is
I
only
think
through the
that's-
end of June.
It's what?
This is only through the end of June, what we're looking at.
The slush fund?
No, just
Balance.
this budget. That's why it's not on here.
Okay.
And the other thing with some of the sponsorships, Nielsen's was $1,000 sponsor, but they're not giving us 1,000. They're giving us $1,000 worth of water bottles, which they haven't returned my call this week. So hopefully we still get those water bottles. Things like that too.
In
So
kind.
the budget, the 20-some thousand we're saying for the festival, not all of it is in cash.
I was thinking the same thing.
A lot of water.
It's a pallet, 1,500 bottles. And they were gonna try. When someone tells me 1,500 bottles, I think, I'm not dealing with that. So then I got Nick Nielsen, to do a vendor booth. I told them they could sell the bottles if they want to and donate the rest of it, but it would be nice to have bottles of water at the festival if there's people out there and it's hot. So I've been trying to do that a lot, because everybody wants to give me stuff. Kirkins wants to give me 6 tons of corn. What am I gonna do with that?
Just corn. The corn means nothing to contain.
Just shell corn.
Look at the festival schedule. We have a corn pit for kids, but we just found out,
Oh, that's,
we found
it
out
is.
this morning that they are not supplying containment or picking it back up, or a tent or a tarp, and they want it on hard surface with a tent, which can't happen. And they want to give us 6 tons of corn. So we had to cancel that corn pit today.
just put the hockey rink boards up and put it in there.
That's what I said, but we're too afraid of skid loaders on there because it's expensive concrete. So,
Well, you don't gotta put the skid loader on it. You just need something to dump it over
I
the
know.
side and then.
but then we got to find a skid loader too, and then
Gherkins has a good book.
and they don't want to give us anything. They just wanted to give us the
Like, I mean,
corn. It's like, what do I do
I'm
with the
pretty
corn?
sure you know somebody who has a contact that can get a hold of
Stay
a
away
skid
from
loader.
that.
You guys have
Expensive concrete slab of any sort.
Yeah, Mike also,
Stay away.
Public Works didn't really want
Yeah.
anything near that precious.
No, but her husband drives a payloader.
I don't want him driving on that.
You don't drive on it, you drive next to it. The payloader has a long enough reach that you can.
Me personally, I'd rather just dump it in the grass and then
But
if the grass gets ruined, we'll just oversee next year. Sorry, I'm not.
Just go up by the skate park, just go over there. Easy.
Or just put it in the ground.
Or you could put it on,
Tons of corn.
put it on the
A lot of
cement
that, just-
and then have a weekend where people can come and just help themselves. They can feed the birds all winter.
I was gonna say, does it go back? I feel like the mice are gonna get into it. I said, great, they'll clean it up. You know, we
Going
want
back
to
on
clean
Sunday.
it up.
Just tons of corn back by Sunday. Oh,
You have to give
Wait,
it back.
it's borrowed corn?
No.
Oh, really?
yeah, they want it back.
There's some. You. Nope, not going there.
Eaten
Right?
that- I mean,
It was mind
Kids will
blowing
pee in
talking to them today. I still got a call.
It's
nah.
like, well, you know, they grind it into feed
Because
cows.
really all you need is a farmer with a bunch of hay bales.
Well, yeah, but in 2 days.
We got plenty of poly, yeah.
How about the hemp place? He must have something that he could bring and set up.
For anything.
Us older kids might enjoy that.
That's a bummer.
Okay, anyway, back to the
Just get
budget.
kiddie pools.
But we have plenty of
Just get kiddie pools.
Yeah, I was expecting it to just be like,
Yeah.
yeah, a big kiddie pool with some corn in it.
I don't even know what 6 tons of corn looks like, but when they told us that today,
6 tons of corn is a very large dump truck.
There's a really large fall festival up
I
in the
mean-
city.
I mean, like-
Yeah.
And it is
I was just,
awesome.
Like we, in our small dump truck, we can get 3 tons
This
of
deep.
something.
And it's like the size of a huge.
Just do the hay
And
and
then
then
not
put
lose
tarp.
kids in it.
yeah, but
At Severs does it.
They don't say
They'll
that.
donate it, just come pick it up.
Bring it down and,
Yeah.
but I know in 2 days, how are you gonna?
yeah, 2 days. They just told us this information today, so it's, if they would have told us
We
weeks
assumed
ago,
it
we
was
could have
coming
had
from
some
the
more.
Bowl in a bucket, everybody.
Like,
Everything we need.
right.
I think that's the responsibility of new EDA members.
I'll be busy.
We do still need volunteers.
Okay, anyway, back to the budget. Anything else or any questions, concerns, or what do you want to, how do you want to proceed? Want to approve it, go with this and make adjustments and transitions and transfers as needed later on.
That motion.
Do the same thing.
Okay, the motion's been made to approve the budget as presented.
I'll second. I'll let you have the motion.
And motion's Tina, second Lindsay. Any other discussion? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion's passed. Okay, Ziba request.
Yes, so 2 months ago, Brenda, forget her last name, Lyra? She stopped in to talk about their upcoming block party, and then we had, the information we had at the time is we couldn't help them because our promotional budget was tapped out. And then last month, we found out we could move money around to aid line items of our funds. So I reached out to them after last month's meeting, told them about the new news, and then they sent us receipt of a check, receipt for the band that they utilize, it's $300, and they would like us to consider that, which is just for the band, for their expenses for the block party, if the EDA would like to reimburse them.
I think it was a great event. It was very well attended and brought a lot of, people were shopping downtown, just all over the place. It was neat.
I agree. I'll make a motion that we approve the $300 fee to Ziba with the understanding that Kim will take it from whatever fund still has money in it.
Second.
Motion's been made second. Any other discussion? Bookkeeping 101. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Link me, the last item. Do we have anything on that? Brian was gonna, did he ever get back to you with any information? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So this is probably the last time we're going to be talking about Link Me,
Okay.
essentially, but I spoke with one of the administrators since last month's meeting. Her name is Mary Anderson, and Brian went down there for, I think he was there for a golf tournament, was it?
Yeah.
So he chatted with them while he was there as well. What we found out is there's some differences compared to last month's data. Instead of 5,000, they had 8,000. They have 3 administrators, but now they have 2. Fiscal aid, there's just minor changes, but long story short, they don't know their impact and they have monthly costs that their accounts are going to expire soon. They essentially created a website and allowed people to request aid and people who want to help fill that need, but there was no boxes checked. If their need was met, they'd get the same request twice, most likely because the need wasn't being met. And they don't have, they think it's been a success. They don't know. So it just seems like there's no way I would condone spending a couple $1,000s to do something that I don't know is going to pay off. And then I brought up last month, I love the thought of why it exists. But for example, making a Facebook page is free and you can see who's commenting on it. Their vetting process, for example, all the things that made it a little bit more professional. The vetting process was they knew everybody who signed up because it's a small town. So they didn't vet, in what we think of the word vetting. I'm not trying to bash them or anything. They did a good service and
It works for them.
it works.
I don't know how it's gonna work here.
Well,
We can't even get volunteers for
Yeah.
the committee. I don't know who's gonna, I don't know. I just feel really, or for the festival. I don't know how it would work here.
They said,
They only have like, what, 800 people? Yeah.
But they said COVID hurt them. They believe they've had upwards of 200 requests in the past year and a half. Requests sometimes have stayed since the beginning of them starting up. They recently imposed, when I say recently, the beginning of this year, they imposed a 90-day limit on requests, so they can only float there for 90 days and then they would get taken off. Yeah, vetting done being knowing people. Smith gave them 1K, so we can talk to her about that. But they have $250 quarterly dues. Their web designer is $1,700. Their something else is $800. They have a $25 credit card bill a month. It's $30 a month, and they pay, I don't know if this is quarterly or annually, $300 in ads. And when they get down below $1,000 or something, they're going to start asking for more donations. The website looks a little bit more professional than when you talk to someone because no one really knows what's going on. It was hard to get track and get this Mary Anderson on the phone. So I don't want to spend thousands of dollars to have something that we don't have the capacity to, or make better, staff time to monitoring our requests at any time of the day or making sure it's met,
Okay, well, we certainly investigated it and was worth the time and effort to know that we're probably better off leaving it.
Well, I think it's interesting that they pay that much for a web developer that didn't add something that tracks the request, but
Yeah.
more so I would have thought during COVID that they would add a spike in usership versus not, and it doesn't sound like that's necessarily what happened.
Reminds me of Craigslist. So you see an ad, but you don't know who else is responding to it. You know what I mean? Like you see a listing for someone to upload, but it'd be nice for knowing needs are met or somebody has to take those off and they started to this year and things like that, but.
We'll let them work on it a little while. Maybe we'll circle back around and
Sure.
a little more mature.
After they get the bugs worked out. Okay, anything else? Any other reports or questions?
Weekend.
Yep. Couple of things I have here. One is on board with the detail place. Wasn't he at one point going to come and ask for funding again?
Correct.
But he-
First month I was here, he requested a business subsidy application. I sent it out to him and I followed up with him a couple weeks after, or maybe the next month, and then he doesn't.
Doesn't need
And
it?
he's already started building, yeah.
Yeah,
He hasn't needed anything ever.
big building. Oh my God,
10
Pretty big.
stalls, it said.
really? There again, where are you going to find people to fill 10 stalls of detailers?
It's his own.
I know, but
Because
he's still
he
got to hire, he's got to hire people to work on those cars in 10 stalls.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, apartment building seems like it's chugging along.
Yep. And another update on that, I was able to disclose it. I might have said this before, but they were interested in another property in Zumbrota, and they most recently had a purchase agreement, the closing date of September 1st for another 5.5 acre property and land, but that's being held up. So that one might, it's in flux right now.
Oh,
But that one's going well. I get calls almost monthly from another city who they're also working with. We're the pioneer of them, it seems like, outside of Red Wing, let's say. Because Red Wing's a bigger town, so we're more comparable to, I don't want to say their names if they don't want me to, but so they ask how things are going.
Mhm.
Things are going well.
No, it's terrible. Do not go with them. Because we
No,
want to build
no,
more
no.
units here,
Right.
not up or down the road.
right.
Yeah. But,
They know they signed an exclusivity contract,
Right.
don't they?
yeah.
One other thing that I was thinking of, I don't know if you guys in the city get any kind of a report when the census report comes out, but if there was some way that you could disseminate some information and there were a report that we could see, okay, what is our average age, or what's the median age, what's the median income, have we increased? Any information that came from the census. I don't know if you get anything like that.
I actually had a call about that a couple months ago where somebody asked me if I can send them the census information. What entity would reach out to that? I know the county does market demographic information, but they don't send that out. You can just access that on their website. But the census is a federal thing, first and foremost, and it was put on hold last year because of COVID. The numbers are so skewed because they didn't get correct census reports. This is after investigating it. So that's why when you still Google population of here and there and you still see 2010 number pop up, because taking census during the pandemic wasn't as fruitful as they had liked. So the numbers whatever numbers they have, which they have not disclosed, what I've seen is 3607 for Zumbrota, which is the increase from 2010. But nobody knows if that's true. Because not everybody took the census. You guys remember those ads where they would come to your door if you needed to?
Yeah.
Just so you could fill out a census report, because not everybody was filling out what was needed to be done. And still,
For the guy that came here a couple times and met with Ryan.
yeah.
Well, I think that was their plan, was to get volunteers to go door to door, and then,
Yeah, and I don't know.
and then that shut down when they couldn't go, when you couldn't.
2010, they paid people to do it.
Yeah, I think they were going to this year.
Quite a lot.
Last year, but I think they couldn't because people couldn't go door to door.
So you said 3607, is that an increase then from,
3253, yeah.
okay.
So more to come, is that what you're saying on that one?
Well, if you think about the variable effects of a pandemic and everybody working from home, just like Alyssa said, I heard it was Alyssa, right? More people are having the ability to work remote from home or want to commute from out of the cities. So you should see that number increase higher for certain small towns, which we would be a great candidate for that because of highway access. So yeah, you think that number would go up in the next 10 years more than it did. But then
But
there's,
don't they base other funding sources off of your census? Oh, don't they want to get that right?
The federal government,
You just say it.
get it right? Okay. Anything else? Questions? If not, we will be adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I was going to say, I can get you.
Let's just say, who do you, who are you using?
Jason.
Oh, Jason, I know.
You know, Jason, we have 24 front, 188 motion stations.
Okay, should I order some or can you put them up by me or should I up the order or?
Because, so I wouldn't mind if you took one or two, is that what you're thinking, what you wanted?
Oh,
But work guys are not available.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Maybe I should just call Jason and have